Strangely enough, Dartmoor was one of my favourite jails. Whenever I was at Exeter Prison, and they used to come to you and say that you're ready for a ship out, and they would sometimes put you down for Challenge Wood or something like that, and I would ask if I could get my name on the Dartmoor bus. Normally there'd be less people waiting to go to Dartmoor, so you'd get a ship out of Exeter quicker. It's a cold prison. It's another old Victorian prison, stuck out in Princetown. It's on one of the highest points on the moor. It's outside of Tavistock on Dartmoor. It's constantly shrouded in mist and cloud. Whenever you drive up there, you suddenly start to, and you know when you get close to the place, because there's suddenly you drive into this halo of cloud hanging around the top of a hill. I spent many years there. I've lived in all aspects of the prison, so I'm going to give you a bit of an insight into what it's like waking up day to day there, and day to day life of a prisoner in Dartmoor. So on the main wings, again, similar to other prisons, you wake up about sort of 8:15. You get a breakfast pack, so there's no hot breakfast in the morning. And what I mean by that is breakfast pack is you get a small carton of milk, you get a pack of cereal, and you'll also get maybe a couple of tea bags and maybe a coffee in there as well. This is opposed to some prisons doing a hot breakfast in the morning. You'll go down there and there'll be a sausage and an egg, or some toast that's dry as fuck, and because remember they've got to cook toast for 600 people on the wing, and they, to do that they have to start cooking it about 7 o'clock in the morning, so it's been ready for about an hour by the time it reaches you. Can you imagine? So Dartmoor will do a breakfast pack, so you don't have to queue up for breakfast in the morning. So when you get up, you go straight out for work. Work, again, being like most prisons, they do courses. So you've got like carpentry, plumbing. Some prisons do like electronics or mechanics. I don't think they do that at Dartmoor. So it's more carpentry, bricklaying, that sort of thing. Some they occasionally do plastering, stuff like that. Or you go to education, which is similar to any other prison you can do, but you do a bit more advanced stuff. So it's not just your GCSE level. You got some lads doing open university courses down there, and things. So you get a chance to get yourself ahead if you want to. If you don't do that, then you're on the wing all day, and once the lads have gone to work, they normally give it another hour or so, and then they'll just open your door up. Now this is completely unfamiliar to you, coming from Exeter, where you only get really an hour a day out of your cell, and exercise as well. At Dartmoor, it feels like going to an open prison when you get there, because, like I say, once they've got all the boys out to go to work, then they just open up your door then until lunchtime, and you'll just be knocking around on the wing. You've got time to use the phone, go and chat to your mates, go and just hang about on the wing in general. Lunchtime, again, normal as any other prison, sort of about 11:30ish, 12 o'clock. You go down there and you get your choice of meals. It's a normal kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 meal selection, with 1s being your vegetarian selection and 5s normally being a sandwich or a salad. Then you get all your other options in between. I used to work on the servery in Dartmoor. It's a pretty hairy experience sometimes. Doing the chips is always the worst, because everybody wants more chips, and if you give your mate 2 scoops, or a heavy scoop, then you've got to stitch someone else up with a light scoop of chips, and it's always a point of confrontation amongst people. But hey, it's got to be done. So after lunch, you're normally banged up for another hour and a half, give the staff a chance to go and get their lunch and everything. This is a time, again, go and get your head down, get some sleep. We worked out that if you sleep an extra hour or two a day, an extra 3 hours a day, by the end of the week, you've slept basically about 21 hours, and that's almost another day. So yeah, if you can try and get your head down for another 3 hours a day, sleep more than usual, by the end of the week, you've slept an extra 21 hours. So that was always our way of trying to get out of doing a bit more sentence. When they come and get you again after lunch, normally about 1:30ish, 2 o'clock maybe, they let you out. You go back off to work, back off to education, and then again, like they do earlier on, if you're not working, they'll just open your cell door up and you'll be out just wandering around the wing. This is when we used to normally just play poker or just fuck around with, you know. They lock you up about 5:30ish. It's about 4:30. They'd lock you up. Everyone comes back from work, and you get head down again for another bit of sleep or watch the soaps and on telly. They'll let you out about 6:30 for food. When you go running down to go and get your food, there'll be a member of staff from the gym there taking your name down to go see if it's your day to go to the gym. So you'll see people running from their end of the landing, running all the way down just to get the name on the limb, because the name on the list for the gym, because it's a first come, like first serve basis. So you want to get your name down as quickly as possible to get to the gym. Once you've got your food, they just leave your door open then for association. Association being the time when you can just go and mix. That's the only time you're allowed to sort of play pool, and there'll be a TV room where you can go and put a film on or just go and watch TV, things like this. And believe it or not, you got a TV in your cell and everything, you can sit there watching TV all day. You'll still find people just going and clogging up the TV room, going and watching something else down there. Normally I'd just be going and playing poker or going and getting some time on the phone with my family or something. But you normally, because weirdly I didn't mind it. Once you get in with a good bunch of little mates, you soon find yourself just spending all your time with them. I'd find myself, you go and get yourself a cup of tea, and we'd go and fill up your flask so everyone else can have a cup of tea. And you'd go down their cell and you just spend your association time once you've finished eating. Or sometimes you even take your food into their cell and you'd go and have a chat with them and just go and hang out and you have a laugh and everything. One of my pals on a Saturday or Sunday morning, he loved watching One Tree Hill, which was some basketball program in America. One of those kind of Dawson's Creek kind of fucking dopey teenage documentaries. But he loved it, absolutely loved it. He was a big drug dealer in Wales, but he had to watch his One Tree Hill every Sunday, and you couldn't go in his cell, you couldn't go and disrupt him while he was watching it. It's great fun. So anyway, that was on the main wing. That was how life normally plays out. I also did life down on the resettlement wing, which was kind of like a DCAT wing within the CCAT establishment. So once you get to go down to the resettlement wing, life is very, very different, and it's almost in a two-parter as well, because first of all, when you go down on the resettlement wing, you have to kind of jump through a lot of hoops. So you go down there, and the first thing you notice is that there's carpet everywhere, instead of the shitty, hard plastic floor that you'll find on the main prison wing. And it's only office-style carpet; it's nothing fancy, but it's a big step up from what you're used to. So I went down the resettlement wing, and the second thing you notice is that obviously everyone's in their own clothes. You haven't seen this since the remand wing, really. Normally everyone's in prison tracksuit or prison jeans, something like this. So walking down onto the resettlement wing, you see that everyone's in their own clothes. There's carpet everywhere. They've got big sofas. Everything's, quite comfortable. They've got a big fish tank down there. You notice they've got, it's the old block from Dartmoor, the old Dartmoor block. And, it's notorious. People have died down there before. But they've moved the block and they've changed up a little bit. They're trying to better their reputation. So now, instead of being the dead end of the prison, it's now the opportunity for people to get out and better themselves. It's almost a last chance saloon for a lot of people like myself who are finding themselves in that cycle of just going backwards and forwards back into prison. So they give you a lot of rewards, but they want you to jump through a lot of hoops for it. So you see all the pool tables down through the wing. They've even got a little gym down the end of the wing, because once you go down there, you're not allowed to mix with the rest of the prison, because you've got a lot of people who are going out to work and going out to the other side of the wall to the prison farm. So there's a lot of opportunity to bring stuff in, and if you're mixing with the rest of the prison, then it makes it more of an opportunity for stuff to get into the rest of the establishment. It doesn't mean it's not impossible, but it's they do try and limit you mixing with the rest of the wing as much as you can. So waking up down on the resettlement wing, again, it's about 8 o'clock, but this time they just come and open your door, and this is you for the rest of the day then. That door doesn't get shut again. There's no breaks for lunch or meals until 8 o'clock at night. So from 8 to 8, your cell's open. you've been given a breakfast pack still, so you normally take care of your own breakfast. I used to buy my own cereal, so I'd buy a box of Frosties or a box of Alpen, and then mix up the rest of the whatever the little box or little bag of cereal would be. It's similar to one of those, the little variety packs you get, but it would be off-brand, or it would just, without the cardboard box, it would just be the plastic wrapper from inside, full of some Rice Krispies or off-brand cornflakes or something like that. My favourite was always mixing up Alpen and Frosties. It makes a weird combination, but in prison, when you've just been eating the same old crap for a while, yeah, Alpen and Frosties. If you've never tried it, I'd recommend it. It's great. So yeah, I'd always have my cereal before unlock. On the resettlement wing, you get to go out. So on a normal day, you'd just be knocking around the wing, looking busy, reading a book, doing some education, putting your name down for a offending behaviour course, something like that, something to make it look like you're trying to better yourself. But once you jumped through all those hoops, and you get to go out of the prison, 8 o'clock in the morning is something completely different, because I was ready for work. I'd have my work boots on, and I'd get to leave the actual establishment every day. So I'd go and get a pat-down search, to make sure I'm not smuggling anything out of the prison. And then they'd walk us off the wing through the inner security fence. There's a wall on the outside of the prison, and then there's about maybe 10 or 15 feet, and then there's an inner metal security fence, and they'd walk us out through that security fence. So you're then walking around in between the wall and the perimeter fence, in that kind of dead zone, and they'd walk us up towards the prison gate, where we'd get given a license to go out of the prison to go and work. Now that was one of the rewards for jumping through all the hoops on the resettlement wing, is that you were allowed to go out and work, and once you'd been out working for a few months and everybody trusted you, then you could start earning money doing that work. And that was the stage I got to. I went out working with the Forestry Commission, so I'd be off on Dartmoor cutting down trees and things, and it was a great opportunity to get a vocation under my belt, and I absolutely loved it. And then for the first time in my life, I was starting to see, just normal, honest people doing an honest day's work, and being completely happy with it, just paying their mortgage, paying their bills, and never having any problems. Whereas my life was always chaotic, hectic. I made plenty of money, but I was always, every time someone knocked on the door, I was always having to look out through the window to see who was there, and I'd always be worried about the police coming and putting my door through, or what was going to happen next, basically. So just seeing these honest goers living a normal life for normal money was, very appealing to me at this point. And stages of my time on Dartmoor, and especially on the resettlement wing, I was looking at obviously going as straight as I could, but criminal life always appealed to me, and I always found ways of smuggling stuff back in. So yeah, you'd be out at work all day, and then it would come to the end of the day, and you'd end up coming back into prison. You come back in again the same way you went out, through the front gate. You'd get a quick pat-down search from the guy at the gate, and then you'd walk back down through the fenced-off area, back onto the wing, where you'd get another search, a strip search this time, and sometimes you'd have to go off and do a drug test as well. They'd always do a breath test to make sure you hadn't been drinking, but it was quite a poor one. So we knew we could get away with a couple of pints, but without it showing up. So it wasn't a very good breathalyzer. And then you're back on the wing again then, and once it's gone past sort of 6 o'clock and you've had the evening meal, then you were allowed to start using the pool tables and using the gym and everything. Or again, like on the main wing, you'd be plotted up in someone's cell with a cup of tea, just having a laugh, or playing PlayStation. We used to like playing Xbox and computer games a lot. I don't know why I said Xbox there. We never allowed an Xbox in prison. It was all PlayStations. And I used to have a little PlayStation 2 that you'd order from Argos. And I actually managed to get my one for free, because I ordered it, and you had a little Argos catalogue, and there was a company that used to supply, they'd supply the prison with stuff, basically. And I put in this order, and once it arrived at the prison, then they would deduct your money, and you'd receive your item. But it would take a few weeks. Everything, it takes time in prison. So you'd order it, and it would take about a month to 6, 7 weeks for it to turn up. And I remember waiting, and I'd waited like 2 months, and I think it was even getting close to 3 months, and it hadn't turned up. And I spoke to the chap, and he said, "Oh, listen, there's another guy in the prison who's just, rejected his Xbox, PlayStation. Sorry, it's turned up, and he doesn't want it now, so he's sent it back. He goes, you can have that one if you want, and we'll deduct the money." So they gave me that PlayStation, and they never deducted the money. So because of the confusion, I basically just got a PlayStation for free. I left the money there for a couple more weeks, and they never deducted it, so I spent the money on games. We played Tiger Woods Golf. That was a big one in prison. San Andreas as well, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. I spent more time playing that than anything else in prison. Just basically anything we could just lose ourselves in for weeks and months at a time. You play every bit of a computer game. A lot of people obviously think that, you should be in there. You shouldn't have any luxuries at all, but obviously when you give a prisoner a luxury item, it's something that you can then hold like a carrot with a stick. And you can, it's something you can hold over them and take away if they misbehave. So the argument always is that, it's better to give them luxury items that you can take away than to not give them anything at all. Because then, as a prisoner, you've got nothing to lose. So it's you become a lot more like we were at Portland Prison, where we were just fighting all the time because, what's the difference? It doesn't make a difference whether you don't. So when it comes to banging up in the evening, I always found that some days you just want to get away from everything. So about 6, 7 o'clock after you've had your food, you just go and kick your own door shut. And that's possibly one of the worst things you can do in prison, because everyone then comes to your door to come and ask you if your door's shut accidentally and if you want it open again. And then you have to kind of just go up to the door and tell them that you just want an evening to yourself. And then people start asking, "What's wrong? Are you right?" And I'm like, "No, I'm all right. I just want a bit of time to myself." So they disappear, and then 5 minutes later, someone else will turn up going, "Oh yeah, do you want me to open your door?" I'm like, "No, don't worry, my door's fine. I'm just having a bit of an evening to myself. Don't worry." So yeah, it's the worst thing you can do. Always push your door, to. Don't push it shut if you want a bit of peace and quiet. But other than that, again, you'll be banged off about 8 o'clock. That's when the staff go home. So they'll want you all banged away, shut up, so they can then come down and they do a count. So the staff leave and do a count, and then when the night staff come on, they'll come on and they'll do a count as well, about 8:15. Dartmoor was another one where they had a film channel. So when it got to about 10, 11 o'clock, the night staff would put a movie on that was available to all the prison cells. It may not have been available to everyone, actually. It might have just been something that was down on the resettlement wing. But some of the night staff were quite cool, and they would bring in DVDs from the outside that we hadn't seen yet, and pirate copies of films for us to watch. Because again, they understand that a happy prisoner is a quiet one, and if they're quiet, then you get to have a bit of an easier life. So Dartmoor was a prison that I really enjoyed. We spent some time outside of the prison, out on the farm. The prison farm used to be something to be inspired of. There used to be 100 lads out from the prison working on the farm, and it used to go on for as far as the eye could see. There'd be 10, 15 miles of farm all around the prison. But Prince Charles put the rent up to something that the prison couldn't afford, so they had to give up a lot of the land. They used to make a lot of the milk for the prisons in the area, and it used to give something for the lads to do and get out there and work. Someone escaped from the prison farm years ago. If you want to look up the story about the Craze, the Mad Axeman, it was one of their gang, and he escaped from the prison. But it was easy to do so because they literally, the same way I just said, they used to go out on the farm. He used to do his own thing. He even used to get women to come down to the village and meet them. Now, we also managed to do that. I would quite often get my girlfriend to come and pick me up. Occasionally, I would tell my work that I had to, had a legal visit and I wouldn't be coming out. And I'd tell the prison that I was going out to work, and I would just file off and go off in a different direction, and my girlfriend would pick me up, and we'd go off for the day, for a naughty day off in Tavistock or a hotel somewhere. These were things that I'd never experienced in prison before. I remember laying back on a field one day just eating chips, thinking, fucking hell, I'm doing a sentence right now. And I was just sat in the grass, eating junk food. with the sun on my face. Dartmoor gave me a tremendous opportunity to do something with my life, and again, like everything else, I just took the perks of it and took all the advantages of it, and fucked it all up. I got caught bringing a mobile phone in on a Friday night once because I like to stay in touch with my girlfriend and my pals outside, and I didn't like not having my mobile while I was stuck on the wing in the weekend. So I'd been smuggling in items, and someone had asked me to bring in a bottle of Jack Daniels for them, and it was one of those £20 bottle of Jack Daniels, and I used to sell them for about £100 on the wing. I managed to smuggle it in and give it to him, and he dished it out to some of his friends, but someone that wasn't invited to that party got a bit jealous, and they not only grassed him up for drinking it, but he grassed me up for bringing it in. So when I came in that night, they searched my bag a little bit more than they would normally do, and hidden in the lining of the bag, I managed to make a little secret pocket, and hidden in the lining of my bag they found the phone, and once they dug around a little bit deeper, they found actually how to get to it, and they got my bag out and got my phone out, and sent me back to the main wing. But I only had about 3 months left to go before I was being released from prison, but it was still a stupid thing to do, and yeah, I got caught, and you know, my fun little merry-go-round got stopped early, and I was thrown back onto the main population. But yeah, that was all the aspects of Dartmoor Prison, basically. It's a lot tighter. The routine's a lot stricter on the main wing than it is down on the resettlement wing. I'm actually quite sorry to hear that it's going to be closing soon, if it's not closed already. I looked it up the other day, and it's due to be closed. It got made a sex offender prison, because obviously the prison gets paid more if they become a specialist centre for these sort of things. They used to have 2 wings full of sex offenders and nonces and paedophiles and rapists and all the worst kind of scum of society. And then the last thing I heard about the place is that it had become a specialist centre, and they'd opened up more wings to these fucking animals, and now the prison's closing. So it will probably end up being a hotel or something like that. You might be able to go there one day for an experience, and I would recommend you do. It's great. You can even go there now and have a walk around. If you turn around and have a look, or even if you have a look on Google Earth, there's a wooden fence with some sort of bars on it, and I made that fence. I put that fence up when I was working on the prison farm, and it's still standing now. But yeah, anyway, that's my day in the life at HMP Dartmoor, one of my favourite prisons. Let me know. Hit me up in the comments if you want me to do any other podcasts, or if you want me to talk about any other subject. I do read all the comments, even if I don't get a chance to reply to them. So yeah, subscribe, like the video, and I'll see you next time.